Hey everyone, thanks for joining. It is Dating with Katy, and this is a matchmaker's guide to love and life. And I am your favorite matchmaker, Katy Clark, giving it to you honest and true. And today, this is direct from the horse's mouth, in a sense. Another very big dating coach, man coach, is she sent me a text. Like, I'm friends with a lot of other dating coaches, but there's a lot of them that are single. And they're pondering too, like, why, Katy, can't I find a good man? And now I do think these 5 principles I'm going to be teaching you and 5 things that I would be doing right now if I wanted to be in a relationship, they are definitely for men and women. Okay. But I'm going to be using this example to start. I'm going to share with you a text thread that I got from her. And again, there's a lot of matchmakers, a lot of dating coaches that are single, and they are struggling too. So just know you're not the only one. And I have to tell you, I'm so happy I'm married. I don't have my jewelry on right now because I'm going on vacation, but I look at the dating market and I think, oh, it would be hard right now. And it would be, you guys. So here are the 5 things I would be doing. Now, first, let me tell you, a few months ago, she shared with me this photo of her and a guy. And I'm pretty good read of people, so I can look at a photo and be like, I don't see it. I do think pictures say a lot, and just body posture, also like a person's just kind of their confidence, and also if they are a little bit cocky in a picture, you can kind of see that too. So she sends me this picture, and my first thought was, I don't like this guy. That's my feeling. I've been right quite a few times on things like that. I'm not going to say it's golden, but it's usually a good feeling. So she sends me this picture and she's like, I found a guy. I met him on Hinge. And I'm like, great. I still believe online is your best way, which we're going to talk about later. And she continues to say, it's going great, yada, yada. And I was like, good, let me know, keep me posted. 3 months is the big number. She sends a picture. She says, I found him, emoji face, happy. Yay, so cute. How did you meet? So look, I'm not going to be honest right away. I'm going to let people work it out for themselves. So I didn't tell her my real initial feeling. She said Hinge, it actually worked. Again, I do believe in online. And I said that it's just a lot of swiping. She says it is, but he changed his profile right before he met me. It was actually well thought out. I said, how long has it been? My 333 rule, 3 dates, 3 weeks, 3 months. She said 2 months, so we're almost there. I said, that's awesome. Well, keep me posted. I will, just in a different season now. Work is kind of my last on my list. Very smart because she really wants a relationship and get married. She said, let's see how this all plays out. I said, that's great. You need to make space for a good man. Okay. Fast forward about a month and a half, and she says, ugh, he's broke, living paycheck to paycheck, no financial skills. Next, he put on a good front. Again, that 3 months, if you're paying attention, you will see it. I said, ugh, I have to be honest, he was too pretty. Meaning to me, in his photo, he was too cocky. She said, we were trying to plan a vacation and he was being weird about it. She said, ha ha ha, I appreciate your honesty. That's why we love you. I said, like, he was just too into himself. That was the vibe from the photo I saw. She says, which is funny because he's super insecure, too much. You have to babysit that ego. I said, he's trying too hard. A successful man doesn't need to. How long were you with him and did you pay for dates? So here I am trying to get some intel from her. She said, I didn't. He's a nurse and he does well, but when we went to go plan a vacation, it got super weird. Then it all came out. He does those mobile IVs and makes good money, but something doesn't add up. I said, to start, what is your vision? What is your version of he does super well? So first off, this idea of he does super well, what does that mean to some ladies? Because for some ladies, he makes $1 million. For some ladies, oh, he makes $100,000 as a nurse. So I'm trying to check her expectation on that. And I said, to be honest, a nurse does not do well to me. It's a great job, but it's not of the financial level that I would say does well. To me, in my mind, somebody who does well makes over $300,000. Somebody who makes $100,000, that's a middle average income. It's good. It's a good, safe income. Does well is like next level. Okay, so we're trying to get, I'm thinking C-suite executives, they do well. So I'm trying to get on the same vibe as her, on the same path, so I can kind of get a little bit more intel from her. I said, by the way, mobile IVs, that's a job, it's not a career. And that's the difference. Like this guy, he can't go on vacation because he'll have to take off and he won't be making any money. I just don't see that as a kind of, if he owns the company and he's sending out 10 people to do it, then that's probably he does well. She says, "You're too cute." Okay, okay, lesson learned. She said, "He was pretty and nice, and that's what got me, but I am legit over it in 2 days." Red flag, he's pretty and he's nice. Okay, we're looking for standards here, ladies. Anybody, gentlemen and ladies, we're looking for character. Tell me about his character. I said, well, you kind of, and I said this to her, you kind of need a dorky C-suite tech guy. Okay, like I'm just thinking for her, I just know her personally. She goes, yeah, I need super smart. That's my type. I need to be intellectually challenged. So then she says, I like to play music. So someone who can hang with my music stuff. Lesson learned. I said, well, you don't want to date yourself. So ladies, stop thinking you need to date yourself. I had this the other day. I sent out my bio on a client. This girl goes, well, he and I have nothing in common. Um, okay, well, maybe you go on the date to see if there is. A bio is 300 words, girl. Maybe 500 on ours, but how do you know that from a bio and a one-dimensional photo? Here's my thing. She said, well, he doesn't do philanthropy. And I'm like, I don't know if he does. Maybe you could teach him that. Maybe you could bring him into that world. But my goodness, do you ladies want to date yourself? And I don't know how it is for guys, but I don't think guys think like that. And she says, do you think, though, that there's a lack of suitable men for the amount of women out there looking? I feel like we have to relax our standards a little if we ever want to get married. Every woman I speak with is dealing with the same problem. And ladies, yes, you are one dealing with that problem. So I do believe that that is true right now, that there is a lack of good men, but there are still good men. There are still good single men to be had out there, and you aren't picking them. So I'm going to throw it back at you and say, hey, maybe these 5 things, these 5 tips are going to help you make a decision on how to pick that good guy. And then I also think that, so there's suitable men out there. I think there is a lack, but do we have to relax our standards? So first off, make sure you have the standards. We're going to talk about these 5 things. So I'm going to go into this and I want to read to you what I shared with her. And I shared with her like multiple things that I'm going to be bringing up today. I said, this is a big question with complicated answer. Here are some thoughts that I'm going to be adding into my 5 thoughts here. And then she said, I saw your post the other day about lifting a man up, and I am 100% prepared to do so, to be his emotional compass. But at what point is the sacrifice? Ladies, the truth is we are the neck, he is the head. We play so much of a role in his life, in his value, in making him a hero. I mean, I'm constantly working at that as a wife. I am trying to be honest, be vulnerable, share my needs, but at the same time tell him he's so great because he is so great. I wouldn't pick my man if I didn't think that. But at the same time, he's got a tender heart. When I tell him, hey, I need you to do this, or I'd rather you meet my needs this way, sometimes he gets a little hurt by it. And I need to find that good balance in that. So I'm still working on it. Now, she goes on to say, yeah, I do well financially and I can provide for myself. But if the man is amazing in all other areas, okay, first off, he's never going to be amazing in all other areas. Stop thinking like that. You know, it's never an all or nothing. We got to speak. If he's amazing in a lot of other areas, that's what we should be saying. Then where do I draw the line in standards or unrealistic expectations? I'm going to share that today. Many women like myself are struggling for that very question, reaching for a top 1% man. Ladies, 1% man, stop reaching for that. We're going to talk about that. It's just not realistic. Correct. She's correct about that. But I think just someone who's an adult and can manage himself would be nice as well. Many men cannot even do that. I disagree. I'm going to tell you, it just looks different than how women do it. Remember, think of it like this: men are dogs and we're cats. They're just same animal species, totally different beings, okay? She and I went on to chat, and I was telling her, I told her a great church she should be going to. It has a great pastor with a godly man, a very strong man. So, she's like, I'm just sharing the statistics. Men making over 6 figures who aren't broke or have a career are not easy to find. I disagree. They're all around. I know lots of them that are single, that make good money, that make 6 figures and up. So that is, that is the nuance right here, is where are we going to find those men and how are we going to find them? And it's not just men. Here are 5 things that you're going to need to do to find a relationship in this climate. Okay, number 1, you need to 2.0 yourself. Okay, if iPhone keeps updating their versions, so should you. Man or woman, doesn't matter. You all need to keep yourself well, inside and outside. I say this so many times on my podcast. I cannot tell you enough. You could be great on the inside. You look like a mess on the outside. You could be beautiful on the outside. You could be a biatch on the inside. Guys, your house is a disaster. I've been to this. I've seen great guys. I go to their house. It's a disaster. Their dog's yapping. Their house is a mess. It's, women don't want to, they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to have to, be your mom. So there's so many ways that you can do this. It's in your look. It's in your style. It's in your fitness. It is in just your attitude in life. So many ways that you could be having a growth mindset in all of those. I do lots of podcasts on that. Go take a listen. I've got whole courses in that. Ladies, 7 steps to sexy. Every man will thank you for taking that. It's my front beat of fabulous story. Gentlemen, it's style yourself confident. Guys, it really matters. I got to be honest, my son showed up this weekend. We had 3 different versions of my daughter's graduation. It was like crazy. But one of them, one of my sons showed up sloppy, and I was like, what is this? Who told you could wear this? I was not home when he got dressed because he doesn't live with me. And he showed up the next day looking great. Okay. So it's these opportunities where you need to show up looking great. Ladies, you need to update your wardrobe, update your hair color, take good care of yourself. You will attract more men. It's like I say, if there's 2 houses on a street that are on the market, right? They're both going up for sale, but one of the houses puts new grass in, puts new flowers in, paints it, they're going to get more purpose people who want to come and see the inside. So you've got to take care of the outside to get people to come in and meet you on your insides. It is that important. So I would 2.0, maybe you need a 3.0 yourself. So get out there and do what you got to do. And if you're not there yet, maybe don't be dating. So if you're not in the fitness level you need to be, if you really, you're in a season where you just can't put the time and effort in, don't date. Don't be an 80%er and just be out there sloppily. Like, come to the table ready, okay? I'm saying that on behalf of all the rest of the 20%ers out there. Number 2, yes, you need to lower your expectations. So I have a podcast out there, and it was a personal podcast to me because I was debating, am I ready to marry this guy? He wasn't everything I wanted because no one's going to be everything I wanted. So I wanted to make sure I was not settling with him. Go listen to that podcast because here is the truth. You're going to have to lower your expectations because nobody is going to meet all your needs. That's why we have friends. That's why we have family. That's why we have God. That's why we have a personal relationship with a God who made us, who knows us, because our spouse is going to fail us. Our relationships are going to fail us. It's a little discouraging, but we get back on the horse and we know, here's my rule again, the 80-20 rule in relationships. 80% of that person is going to be is going to be great stuff. They're going to be fabulous in 80%. If you can find more than that, then nail them down. But I have a girlfriend, she's like, Katy, my husband is 60%, 40% drives me nuts. She goes, but the 60% is so deep because they've been married a long time and they have relationships. Now look, I'm looking for an 80-20. 80% I'm going to love about my partner, and I do. 20%, there's two pieces of that. 20% of him is going to be unchangeable. It's either deep in his personality, like my husband is an introvert. It ain't changing. Does he grow in that? He does. Like, he's much more friendly with groups now. Like, when he's around the family, he knows that my family is very talkative, so he steps up. He's also, he's not Mr. Tall. That's not changing. He's got a great head of hair though, so I'm glad that's not changing. So that's part of the 20%. The other 10%, I like to think, is he's going to be willing to grow, because I'm going to be willing to grow on my 20% that's not great. I'm a little bit of a hounder. I can hound on him and repeat and nag. Guys don't love it. My husband doesn't love it. I need to grow in that. That's that small portion that I need to be a good woman and be willing to grow in that. And just in the same way, I want him growing in the little things that he could be changing. So 80% we should be looking for, ladies. Change that, because technically you want a turnkey man. You want to be able to go in and he's Mr. Perfect. It is impossible. Okay, that's for houses only. This is a human being who's going to need some grace, need some love. Gentlemen, I feel like you're a little bit more gracious sometimes, but ladies, we really need to get our expectations lower, and we need to get clear on our standards. It blows my mind, just like in that text I sent, or you heard me talk about, she didn't mention that he had great, character qualities. We want to look at the depth of their personality. Do they do what they say they're going to do? Do they show up when they're supposed to? Does he check in with you? Is she thoughtful and mindful to your schedule? Is she encouraging you? Like, those are the character qualities you're going to need in a long-term relationship. So if he's tall and cute, if she's pretty and hot, it doesn't matter. So again, get that standards list written, and everything in that list you should be working to. You should be creating in your own self. That is the character. Here's number 3. Stop selling yourself. Now this is big on the ladies, right? Well, I'm self-made. I can take care of myself because you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're becoming his friend and his buddy. I recently did my 7 Steps to Sexy course. It was live. It was a great group of women, and I had this beautiful 41-year-old PhD, therapist, and sometimes therapists are too much in their heads. They're too brainiacal that they can't like do life emotionally, even though they think they can. So interestingly enough, she lived in San Francisco, and I found San Francisco women, they're their own breed. They want to be equals. They want to know, they want the men to know how much money they make, that they're VCs and that they're all these big dogs, but guys don't want that. So ladies, I'm just going to share this one specifically. Stop selling yourself and start selling your sensitivities, your femininity. Like, can you cook a mean steak? This is what a man wants. He wants to be fed. He wants to be the other F word that I can't say on here. Like, ultimately, that is a man's primal needs. Knowing that you make as much money as him, maybe more, knowing that you can pay half your bill, it's not sexy to a man. So ladies specific, stop selling yourself. And guys, I'm actually going to share this with you because I have to get my clients to start selling themselves. They're great guys, but on a first date, and sometimes you'll never get a second date. So you better sell yourself on that first date. Share with her how you are a man who is financially strong. You are a man who's ready for a real relationship. If this is who you are as a guy, sell it. Sell it not in a cocky way, but in a confident way, because women are like, oh, okay, these are points that we're going to go home and tell our girlfriends because we need a couple dates to figure it out. But if you don't sell it on a first date, these women don't want to go on second dates. So you got to know when to sell and when not to sell on both sides. All right, number 4, figure out what you want, because I'm going to tell you, ladies, I hear this a lot. Men are a little bit better. Men are a little bit better. Now, there are guys, and I've had these as clients, they want the candy store. They just want to play. That's an 80%er. He just wants to play. No. But most men who are ready for committed relationships, they're actually quite clear about what they want. And I always say men know in 3 seconds. They know in 3 seconds. Women know in 3 dates. So guys, I understand you're like excited. And here's the problem. You start doing a little bit of like what women think is love bombing, which actually, ladies, is because he's clear. He knows he wants you. He likes you. He wants to make it clear. And you're like, oh my gosh, he's trying too hard. He wants to send me flowers. Say thank you. Receive that. That is a great thing. But this is what I hear ladies say. And I recently had a coaching call with a client. She said, Katy, I like this guy. He walked in, owned the room. We were a power couple, but he was mean to me. And I said, well, what do you want? Do you want to be a power couple with a mean guy, or do you want to be single and find a good man who you're not a power couple with? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know. When you say, I don't know, it means you need to get clear. So you need to figure out what you want. And as much as, you ladies say you want marriage, you actually, I don't think you're really ready for it, because these great guys come along and then you say there's no great guys, but you want Mr. Perfect. So you've got to get crystal clear on what you want. Do you want to be married? Do you want to have kids? Having kids is not like having a dog. Okay. This isn't something that, well, if you got to move, you can give it to a friend. You need to be clear if you want to have kids. Now, I understand women that are like 41. That's kind of an up in the air decision. Maybe you're going to meet a guy with kids. Maybe you're going to try to have kids. Maybe you're going to try to do the egg thing. So look, but if you're 33, either you want kids or you don't. You should know. Do you like to hang out with kids? Do you find that enjoyable? Like, men want to know, because these guys, they know if they want to have kids or not. They know. So get clear on, do I want to get married? Do I not? And if I do want to get married, let's get this moving, because ladies, too many of you are wasting too much time. These men are like ready to go and you're like, I'm not sure. Well, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I've said that before. So remember that a partnership is what you're looking for. Interdependence. You're still going to be yourself. I read this the other day and I thought it was interesting. I know in my first marriage, I thought to become one. I literally lost myself in my first marriage. I just thought I had to think like him, decide like him. I had to do what he said because we were one. No, I realized that is not true. It's like 2 halves of an apple coming together to create an apple. Okay, round 2, I'm keeping Katy as who Katy is now. I want to make Katy a better Katy for my partner, for my spouse, but I'm not going to become my husband. I am not going to just decide to, think what he thinks. I'm going to hold my own and I'm going to share it kindly. But here is what Gary Smalley said, and he is a world-renowned speaker teacher on relationships and marriages. He says he hates it when he sees the unity candle at weddings. Yes, he understands the principle, but again, it's this idea like two are becoming one, literally, but you're not. You're still who you are, and you need to be good with that, but understand that there's a partnership that needs to happen. Like any good business, it is, I've said this before, when you're first dating, when you're first married, it's like you think, oh, this is, we're two entrepreneurs coming together and we're just going to see how this rolls. Well, what happens is it doesn't roll well because there's no vision, there's no standards, there's no outline. And just like a good business who's going to run has to have that down to go well and go far. Like my husband has an amazing business. Sometimes I'm like, babe, the tools you used in your business to get you where you are, we need to implement those in our marriage. Because honestly, after a divorce, when two people come together, we're smarter. It's like a merger. Okay, this is the idea and the vision I want you to have. It is two businesses coming together. You need to look at company A and company B and see, does this fit? Because it's going to matter in the success of your relationship, just like it does in business. And here is number 4. Get out there and don't give up. I know it's exhausting. And in the next one, I'm going to give you a few more reasons that you're going to just need to get help. Okay. So get out there and don't give up. My girlfriend, she just got engaged. She went on 30 Bumble dates, 30 Bumble dates. She wrote them down. She considered it a sport. Okay. She had a blast with it. I know another client on her second Bumble date. That's who she married. You don't know the number, but just like the birds need to go and find the pieces to build their nest. They don't just show up and have a nest. Now, sometimes they do, right? Sometimes there's a nest left over and they show up. But oftentimes birds have to build their nest, so consider it the same. It's good for your spirit. It gets you clearer every time somebody doesn't work out. Find out what it was that attracted you, and that person was the expander to the next person that you're going to find. Stay encouraged, and this is how you stay encouraged. You're going to seek help. Okay, bottom line here, this is number 6, your bonus tip. Get help. I was just chatting with one of my daughter's roommates from college. And she's like, Mama Katy, I need you to help me find a man for my mom. Do you have anybody? My database, my clientele, it's a small number, guys. I maybe get 6 guys, 7 guys a year. Okay. And amongst the matchmakers, these guys have specifics they're looking for location wise. So when people come to me and say, who do you have for my cousin? Who do you have for my friend? Probably nobody. But here's what I say to the person asking me. You should go do their Bumble. You should go do their online management, because what it does, and just like for this girl to do it for her mom, it takes away the pressure, it takes away the stress. And I got to tell you, you'll become the matchmaker and you'll have a blast doing it. It's so much easier when you have someone doing it for you or you do it for someone else. And I really encourage that. So if you are single, give it to other people. You find a married friend and you give her your Bumble, and she can download it on her phone. You just have to verify your face, and she just does it for you. And this is what I do for clients. She's chatting with the guy. She sends you a screenshot, and you're like, "Yeah, he's cute. Get his number or give him my number." So this is what I say: if you're going to be that matchmaker for another friend, this is what you do. Hey, you seem really cool. Here's my number. I'd love for you to text me, and we'll set up a call. Then you give all the deets, all the details to your friend, and she runs with it. And you hope that this guy runs with it too. I'm telling you, that is one of the best ways to do it in this day and age. Or give it to your kids. Like if you have older kids and they want their dad in a great relationship, you say, here, sweetheart, let your daughter take care of it for you. Or you hire a coach. You hire Dating with Katy, because she's going to put a little fire under your buns. She's going to see what you're wearing on dates. She's going to get that date feedback and see how it went. She's going to ask you, I'm going to hold you accountable to, were you flirty? Were you fun? I just had a great sit down dinner with a girlfriend who's really taking to heart a lot of my tips. And she's like, Katy, I applied them. I reached out. I touched his arm on the date. I held him accountable. I said, these are the days I'm free. And, to see if he was willing to accommodate to me. I was so proud of her. I was like, this is how we date. This is how we date well. And this is how we get rid of and kind of shake out the men who aren't to our standards. So if that is you, you need to email me, datingwithkaty@gmail.com. Go to my website. It is on there. Work with me button. Check below, you guys. I'm telling you, I want this for you this year. It truly is my prayer. It is my desire. I had a client just get married. I had another girlfriend get married this year. She was in the database. So I want this for all of you. I want you in fabulous relationships. I want my girl who sent me this text to no longer, no longer choose these guys who are unavailable, who just look good in a photo. We want great guys and great women in our lives. And so I'm believing that for you. Make sure you send this to a friend who's a little discouraged. Make sure you get in my database. And if you want to work with me, if I'm going to tell you, ladies, I've been working with female clients. I just picked a female client up. If you are open to the coaching, I'm willing to take you. But also, guys, I just want to remind you, you have more options with me than you'd ever have swiping. So keep that in mind. Take a peek at it. Thanks for listening to A Matchmaker's Guide on Love and Life with Katy Clark.